All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MwM Show. What? 65? Well, I'd like to welcome everybody. Looks like it's on YouTube, so I'm going to close it out. Bandwidth. Every little ounce. Every little ticky bandwidth. So, I'd like to thank you for tuning in live, tuning in later, before you go to bed. Let me be the voice of sleep. Smacking you in the head. Make sure you have a good night's sleep. Whenever you're watching, if it's breakfast, watching it with your breakfast. Sometimes that's when I watch it too. Sit down, have breakfast, watch part of the video, and go to work. If you're watching it later, appreciate it. Leave a comment. If you're not subscribed already to the channel, please do so. Notification turned on, and maybe you get to watch it live Mondays and Thursdays. So, if you're a regular watcher, where are you? I'm going to start saying 9 o'clock, but I'm really not even going to start live until like 9:07. My regular dudes, 9 o'clock's not a good time apparently. They make it just past 9. But they show up most all the time, and I appreciate it. So, if you're late, I'll talk to you anyway. I don't care. I'm here to do it. I'll talk. You want to call in. I'm trying to run the phone line. So the number's on the screen. If it doesn't ring, let me know. Alright. I hope you've been hearing me before. I forgot to put my earpiece in. Earpiece doesn't make you hear me. It just lets you know that, that's where the microphone is. It's on this thing. So, I was hoping I was talking loud enough. Everybody can hear me. I'm a big mouth anyway, so probably could. What was I saying? Welcome to the channel. Yep. So, if you happen to see my Survivor recap last week, Thursday, I mentioned that I may try to do I don't remember what it was now. I've got the phone on. It's a Google Voice line. So, if you try to call in and I don't answer, that's when it made me think I couldn't hear it ring because I don't have my earpiece in. If I don't answer, drop a comment because everything's web-based anymore, and a lot of times, if it doesn't have the focus, meaning if it's not the highlighted window, then a web page is useless, especially when it's Google Voice. So, sometimes, all the time, I'm clicking around on different screens, looking at different things, and Google Voice loses, the spotlight. Call it what you want. It loses the focus. It's not like the primary page. And it doesn't ring in my ear unless, what I've found, unless it is the highlighted page. So, just leave me a comment and I will click on it and then you can call in and I am sure then I'll be able to hear it. Because I've used it before. It works great. So if you want to call in, I encourage you. So, last Thursday I talked about, I'm going to try to have a guy on that I work with. Me and him are going to talk about magnet fishing. And he wasn't at work today, so I texted him and said, hey, you still up for tonight? He said he couldn't do it tonight. So that's fine. I got this other topic. I got all kinds of. So the topic I'm talking about tonight is, if you haven't seen it, this is my doodle board. And I doodled this because sometimes, I hope that comes through. See, on my screen when I'm looking at it, it's backwards. Anyway, it says boiled in oil. I hope it looks right to you. But I doodled that. Okay? Because, I mean, I can't find, a lot of royalty-free images on the things I like. I mean, I could have Google searched, boiling in oil and come up with some really good stuff and then get popped with copyright infringements and, they take the boat, the house, and leave me with the wife. So, hey, Robert. So it's, your little tag, I just noticed the little time tick on the comment says 21:02. So I scheduled this thing for 9 o'clock. I had to go do some things. I looked over and it said, waiting on minutes with Milo. Go live. I thought, well, crap, I'm already late. So click go live. Now in the screen that I see, it says I've been live for 6 minutes. My computer says it is 9:03. So why does it say I've been live 6 minutes? Did it tell me 3 minutes prior to, 9 o'clock that, oh, you're already late, you dummy? So, I don't know. StreamYard, man. StreamYard. One of these times after every show, StreamYard says, hey, man, how'd it go? It doesn't talk, but it has this little text box. And you can give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And I always just give it the thumbs up because, it seems like it does okay. And then it goes, great, tell me about it. I'm going, not now. One time I'm going to hit this. And I'm going to fill their text box full of a couple of little things. This being one of them, I just noticed that. So anyway, lots of topics. This is a topic that I've been wanting to try. And I don't know if I'll be able to do it live. Okay, so started the channel as a live talk show, which 95% of my content, 98% really. I've done 65 live shows, and I've probably done maybe 4 or 5 recorded videos. But what I'm going to do, I don't know if I can do live, especially at the time that I'm doing this. And I could do it maybe Thursday nights because Thursday night's my off night. I don't have to work on Fridays. So maybe I could figure out a way to move my studio from these great surroundings to a more suitable location that is, safer. And the reason I say that is because I'm literally going to boil stuff in oil. Okay? I say okay a lot. Leave me a comment on some other crutch phrase that I could say. I don't even know okay is a phrase. A crutch word. Maybe I ought to, instead of saying okay, let's think of something stupid. Because I'm catching myself saying it. Bubbles. Instead of saying okay, your barn that's wrapped in tinfoil. That would be a good spot, but my barn's probably not going to be available for production for weeks. And I want to get started on this. It's probably going to be somewhere in the basement where I can have a fire extinguisher. So, back to my okay thing. I want to start to try to say bubbles instead of okay. Just because it's different. Bubbles? Gotcha. All right's another one. So, I've been looking for a deep fryer. And that's when I say boiled in oil. That's what you're doing when you deep fry something. French fries are boiled in oil. Now, they say it's fried. We could debate that. Oil's a liquid. To me, you boil something in a liquid. Doesn't have to be water. And it cooks it through the medium of liquid. To me, that's boiling. So I think you boil potatoes in hot oil, and the oil makes it crispy outside and gives you those, what, Robert? Gives you those nasty fry ends that people should just break off, put down on their tray, and save them for the rats, or the mice, the chipmunks, the ferrets. So bubbles, deep fryer. I've got one. And I got an Elite by Maximatic. It's the cousin to the Basomatic. If you know what I'm talking about, you're old. Or you've watched a lot of Saturday Night Live. Old Saturday Night Live. So, Elite Maximatic deep fryer is what I've got. And believe it or not, I was looking for something at like a Goodwill or, a used, no, don't do that. What do you call them? Thrift store. Looking for one at a thrift store. And so I just happened to see on the bulletin board where I work that somebody was giving one away. Close to the Sledge-O-Matic. Yep. They're all O-Matics. And I thought, well, I don't know. So I talked to the person and looked at it, and I said, yeah, okay, why not? So I cleaned it up a bunch. All right, cleaned it up a bunch. So I feel safe using it and potentially eating things out of it. So this is not the best depiction, but let's close this out here. It looks like this one, except the one that I got is an old version, and it doesn't have two knobs on it. It just has one knob on it. All right. So it is a small, maybe 3-quart. It's got the handles. It's got this. My porthole's round. It's got a vent. It's got the basket. I mean, it looks just pretty much like this. It's got the little hanger on it. So probably the last thing I would do with it would be make French fries with those nasty what? French fry ends. So I didn't pay $56. I got it for free. Cleaned it up. Here's what I did to clean it up. The person had wiped it down, and I used some alcohol, cleaned it up. But inside the frying part, there's just, like little wiggly woos of heating elements. And let's see, where's that picture? All right, the heating elements are attached to this black piece here in the back, and they drop into the oil here. All right, and you adjust the temperature, and there's a heating light, and a temperature, it's reached its temperature, and a power light, that kind of stuff. So what I did is I put water in here. I put some dish soap in it. I turned it up to like 275. I dropped the basket in there, and it was fairly clean. But as it heated up the water and started boiling it, it started boiling off the grease because I put dish soap in there, and it was breaking off the grease, and it was letting it turn loose of the heating elements. So I got it a lot cleaner. I don't, how old grease is, vegetable oil, whatever they used. It's sticky. Oh my gosh, it's so sticky. And that's funny. Grease is supposed to be slick, but you let that stuff dry and it's just like glue, right? I gotta find another word for right. So bubbles. I've got it and I'm going to use it. But with anything where you're using hot oil, potential for burns and fires, not so much out of the heating element. I guess you could do it, but mess is almost always there. So I wouldn't want to do it in my house. I know people, you do it in your kitchen. I used to have a fry daddy food items, and I'm not going to do normal food items. I can't do normal food. So this is what I've got. It's going to be small things. So I started looking up what is the best medium to use in, I'm just going to say it, frying stuff in oil, deep frying in oil. So I did a little research, and I was looking for something. Deep frying stuff is not really healthy. But what I did find, no, we're not going to take the Mood Foods challenge, is on Healthline what you can use. Let's get up here. It talks about how healthy it can be. Here's some healthy oils for trying. The ideal temperature for deep frying foods, anywhere from 350 to 375 degrees. Submerge a food in oil at this temperature causes the surface to cook almost instantly. As it cooks, it forms a top of seal that the oil cannot penetrate. At the same time, the moisture inside the food turns into steam, cooking the food from the inside. The steam also helps keep the oil out of the food. You have to have the right temperature. Hey, Cleo. And I was talking to Craig at work today about this. And this is what we came up with. Temperature's important of the oil, the cooking, And if you're going to use it, the batter. So, let's use a corn dog, for example. If I were going to make corn dogs, I would have a good cornmeal style batter. All right, so the hot dog is already cooked. You pull it out of the bag, you stick a stick up one end of it, and you dip it and roll it in your batter. Now, the batter is key because when you drop that into the hot oil, the batter can't just, it can't just fall off, as you're dropping it down in there. It can't be. So it's got to be moist enough to stick together, but not so moist that it would drop off into the oil before you got it cooked. Then when you plunge it into the oil, it's got to cook really quick on the outside, right? Like what it's talking about here. When it cooks really quick on the outside, it creates a barrier. So it's crispy on the outside, and then the heat radiates inward to heat up the hot dog and to, heat up the rest of the batter. And it's almost, to me, it's almost like baking it because, the oil doesn't get to the hot dog. And the oil's not really supposed to get to the inside layer of the batter. The heat does it. And this says steam, which makes sense. It's got liquid in it. So, to me, you're baking that hot dog inside your batter. Same thing with the Twinkie. We talked about Twinkie. How do they make a Twinkie without it just falling apart? And I think it's in the batter. The batter is thick enough to hold on to the Twinkie, and when you dip it down in there, it sears the outside and doesn't really penetrate to the Twinkie. It just heats the Twinkie. And timing, of course, is crucial because I know, like anything, if you leave it in there too long, it's just going to burn it. Just like cooking anything too long. You take it out too soon, the batter's not fully cooked, and it would probably just slough off into the oil, not be any good. So, I don't know anything about it. Never done it. So, most of my offline, non-live videos have been cooking videos. Just because it's fun. And I'll do crazy things. 2-ingredient biscuits. I screw it up. I don't care. Eat them anyway. So, this is what I'm going to try. And I'm going to try to do some live, but it would have to be like Thursday night. Clell, Robert, if you've tried deep frying, call me. Tell me how you did it. If you haven't tried deep frying, call me anyway and tell me how you did it. Whatever. But if you've got any ideas, or type them here on the screen. Type them in the comments. So I'm afraid when I do this, and I might make another playlist. If you've looked at my channel, I've got live, and I've got, what's the other one? Odds and ends. I've got odds and ends. And that's where most everything goes that's not alive. So I've tried to keep it that way. But I did a live series on hobbies. And it was a 5-part series. I think I'm going to do a series of boiled in oil. Me and Craig talked about this too. And I don't know if it'll be the first thing, the last thing, the middle thing that I try. But remember, when I first started talking about boiling in oil, deep frying, to me, you're boiling it because you're putting something in a liquid medium and it's cooking it. Can you hard boil an egg in a deep fryer? Now, see, this is where my mind goes. This is not going to be all Twinkies and funnel cakes, even though I'm going to try those. Who wouldn't? I mean, you know. But can you hard boil an egg in a deep fryer? What? The egg don't care, does it? Does the egg care? Maybe. Maybe. The oil will be a liquid, but it's a different type of liquid than water. Right? So, I don't know. I'm going to try it. Might try it a couple of different ways. Who knows? But I'm going to try. So back to my choice of oils. Clell wants to crack the egg first. Why? And I thought about that. But why do you think I should crack the egg first? Unless you want to wear it. But again, I'm going to ask why. Why would you want to crack it? Do you crack it before you boil it in water? Now, I put eggs in boiling water, and I have seen them crack for whatever reason. I don't know why. And it lets out just a little bit of the egg, and that solidifies and seals the crack. But as it's bobbing around in the water, you see that flap of boiled egg on the outside of the shell. All right, so Robert wants to say it will explode. Clell says the expansion. But not every egg that you boil in water cracks and lets some of the egg out. Most of the time, you put the egg in there, it boils it, not a problem. Now, what I normally do is I put my egg in with a spoon. I'll take a spoon, unless it's super cold water, or unless it's just cold water. But I normally put my egg in before the water starts to boil. That doesn't mean I put it in exactly. You know, when I fill it up, put it in there. I may let the water warm up a little bit. Just depends on what I'm doing. But if I'm real busy, I'll just fill the thing full, a pot full of water, sit it down, drop a couple of eggs in it easily, because I have dropped them too far away. They'll bounce off the bottom and crack because I'm not using a very big pan. I'll just set them down in there, all right, and let it go. And then I'll come back and adjust it to keep it. If you get them too too big of a rolling boil, they'll bump against each other and crack. So you've got to pick that medium. And I think it's the same thing. I think you're talking about temperature. I think it's the same cooking temperature for the egg. Now think about it. just because I say boiling oil, does it really have to be a rolling boil? And when I say rolling boil, the bubbles are coming off the bottom and erupting through the surface of whatever liquid it is, and it causes a lot of turbulence in there. If an egg cooks in 10 minutes at 210 degree water, why wouldn't an egg cook in 10 minutes in 210 degree oil? So there's, I think, where we kind of differ in my thought process. I say boiling. Maybe that we should use a different term. Hot. Because I'm really just planning on putting the egg in and getting it as close to the 210 or 220 degree temperature that boiling water would be. Right? So are we talking about frying or cooking? Good point. Do you really fry things in a liquid medium? That's what I was getting at with, I'm calling it boiled in oil, because it's a liquid medium, just like water. Is it really fried? Now the oil makes it crunchy, unlike boiling stuff in water. If I tried to boil French fries in water, it would be terrible. They just wouldn't make it. It would make mashed French fries, and Robert could eat them all day long because there would be no ends. All right. So lots of ambiguity in the terminology. So not to get the oil boiling per se, because you're right. Boiling it would be bubbles and stuff coming up, and it's, like a rolling boil. Maybe we could call it simmering in oil. But I was trying to I haven't looked at the temperature rating. I know that thing goes to 275, and it may go lower. There's an on position, and then there's little dots, and then it gets to like reading temperatures, number temperatures, and it goes up to like 375 or something. So somewhere in there should be, maybe I'll have to get me a thermometer to put down in there. And I would try eggs at different temperatures. We could try it at 275 and 300, boiling oil, and see, would it just blow apart. It's got a lid on it. So there is a lid that you can put on it. So maybe, heat distilled water to 350. Distilled water doesn't boil. And drop in a raw egg. It will explode. So that comes back to not the temperature wise, but in boiling an egg, does everybody put the eggs in after the water starts to boil? Now I have done it that way and used a spoon to lower them down in there easy so that, they don't clang against each other or whatever. But I've also put them in there while the water was tap water and set it in there and then just turn the pot on and let it start boiling. So is one way better than the other? And I don't start my time for 10-minute boiled eggs until it actually gets to a boil. Because I don't want to crack open an egg and it be, done on the outside, and then when you get to yellow, it just pours out hot yellow puke all over you. I wouldn't want that. So that's going to be the experiment. One of the things I'm going to do is in shell, boil, cook, or hard boil, hard cook, hard fry an egg in a deep fryer. See how it works. The other thing I was going to try to do is, like you talked about, I'm going to crack it, drop it in there like an omelet, let it hit the oil, and see if it flash cooks it. All right, try that. Anyway, back to the healthy stuff here. So it talks about how it works. Too low of a temperature and the oil will seep into the food, making it greasy. Too high, it could dry out the food and oxidize the oil. Not good. Deep frying involves submerging food in hot oil at the right temperature. This will instantly cook the surface and trap the moisture food on the inside. I don't know if this is something they cook or not. I don't have no idea. All right. Stability of the cooking oil is key. Have a high smoke point. Be stable so they don't react with oxygen when heated. So it goes on. Summary. Oils that consist mostly of saturated and unsaturated fats are the best for deep frying because they're the most stable at high temperature. All right, so here's what I thought about. Coconut is a healthy choice. Why had I thought about that? Because when I'm done, lots of calcium for strong shells. The impurities in tap water causes it to come to a rolling boil. So distilled water you don't think has that impurities? I have never heard that distilled water would not boil. I thought all water boiled. I've never heard that. What happens if I filter it through my refrigerator? Will it still roll boil? Of course it will. That's the way I do it. I use my filtered refrigerator water for everything, especially for making coffee. I think it gets rid of some of that chlorinated taste, that tap water taste. I don't like it. So anyway, coconut oil. Reason I thought about it is because at room temperature, I think maybe it says it in here, at temperature below 76 degrees, it's solid. All right. The minute you put it in your hand and rub it around, it starts to melt. Of course, your body temperature is more than 76 degrees. So when I'm finished cooking this, I want to be able to take the oil, put it into a sealed container, and keep it. And that way I can just wipe out the cooker and I can store the cooker because it doesn't have a way of storing the oil inside the cooker. And, you know, healthy's a relative term, but I'd like to try to keep some health benefits, you know. Not benefits, but keep the unhealthy part down to a minimum, put it. What does putting salt in a rolling boil do? Does it prolong it? Does it make the water temperature get hotter? You ever put salt in beer? They say that's what the Germans do. No, not good. All right, so back to the coconut oil. So what I was thinking was letting it start to cool, and just before it solidified again, pouring it into another container, and that way it wouldn't slop around and, you know, all that. It would get solid again in the container, and then when the next time you just scoop it out, put it back in there, and start heating it up. I don't know. Maybe not good. Tip. Yep. So I think coconut oil is high in saturated fats, which means it's stable and doesn't appear to change quantity during deep frying. This may make coconut oil a good choice for frying. So lard, tallow, ghee, and drippings. Animal fats such as lard, tallow, ghee, and fat droppings can be an excellent choice. Flavors and crispness can add to the food taste. You can get lard or tallow from the store. Save the drippings from meat to use later time. I don't think I'd want to use bacon grease to deep fry stuff. Animal fat, heck yes. I don't know. I wouldn't want a deep fried Twinkie to taste like, hamburger meat, or something like that. Or I don't want to have to sift it or filter it to get out the big chunks. That kind of stuff. Olive oil. I thought about some olive oil. Flavor and fragrance may deteriorate when it heats for a long period. Avocado oil, peanut oil, has a high smoke point, 446 degrees. Palm oil. Olive oil and avocado oil are good choices for deep frying. Peanut and palm oils are less suitable either for health or environmental reasons. So, stay away from soybean, corn oil, canola oil, cottonseed, sunflower, grapeseed, sunflower, sesame. Using these oils for deep frying can result in a large amount of oxidized fatty acids and harmful compounds. Deep frying adds calories. Bottom line, resources for healthy water. So, I saw somewhere, and it may not be, that the best coconut oil is the cold press. So I looked at a couple places and I couldn't find the cold press coconut oil. I mean, I looked at Big Lots. So, peanut oil. Let's see what this says about coconut. The canola. See, now this other one said to avoid canola oil and the rapeseed oil for deep frying. Yeah, look for cold press, good quality brands. The worst oils to use in high heat: flax, walnut, pistachio, hemp, and pumpkin seed. Is coconut oil healthy? I don't know. Best for baking and sauteing. Extra virgin and unrefined is 350. Refined is 450. So which would you pick? It says nutritionist pick is the cold press. Uh, Store oil in a cool, dark place. While wine sits better with age, oil does not, and the quality and flavor will weaken as the oil ages. I've just got to come up with a decent oil to do it in. I don't know. Figure that out. Not going to do it in 30 weight. Not going to do it in 2050 either. Oh, that was the same stupid thing. All right. So, boiled in oil, simmered in oil, what do you want to call it? I want to try to do some videos, and like I said, if I can figure out a way to extra ugly olives. Okay, dad joke. That one you made up? Made up yourself. Well, I know deep frying is by no means going to be healthy, but I guess not the whole point, but part of the point is not to be healthy, really, but to try different things. So Craig asked me, well, I mean, what are you going to deep fry? I'll try anything. You know, I would like to come up with a couple of different batters because I would like to try a boiled Twinkie or a boiled deep fried Twinkie, deep fried Oreo, some different things like that. But what happens to a carrot if you drop it in hot oil? I mean, I've never had fried carrot. What happens if you drop a zucchini? You have grilled vegetables, right? You've probably had grilled carrot on a shish kebab or, something similar to that. What happens if you try to deep fry a carrot? Or if you try to deep fry a tomato? With or without, batter. So another thing about cooking oil is I probably need to find something that's readily available and cheap, because if you drop a tomato, probably too much water content now that I'm thinking about a tomato, because water and oil do not mix. I understand that. If you've ever accidentally been frying bacon or something and splashed a little water into it, or some drips off your hand, it just immediately starts to splatter and, cause utter chaos, because the water immediately turns to steam, ricochets around, all that stuff. So maybe not a tomato. Raw tomato. Maybe if you put it in batter, because like we talked about, dip it in the batter, you throw it in there, it sears the outside and just heats the inside. But I think since a tomato has a skin, it probably would explode. Probably so. I don't know. We could try it and find out. And if it does, see, then I'd have to get rid of the oil, because then it's infused with feeds and all that junk. And I'd have to get rid of it. Well, fried green tomatoes. Green tomatoes would be a good choice because I don't think they're as moist or watery. So, those are the kind of things I'm thinking about. I'd like to deep fry a hamburger. If you've ever had a deep fried hamburger, there used to be a place, I don't know if they still make it, Taste Buds used to have a deep fried hamburger. I'd like to try that. Deep fried, sausage balls or something like that. I just want to, try some things. I'd like to deep fry a biscuit. I'd like to try to make funnel cake out of pancake batter, or maybe even waffle batter. So, I'd like corn dogs. I like corn dogs. I'd like to make my own batter and make some corn dogs. But, still yet, I would like to try different things. Like I said, cracking an egg open, letting it drop into it like egg drop soup. Right? That's what they do with the egg drop soup, isn't it? Technically, they're supposed to get the water boiling and they're making the soup, and they just crack an egg, drop it in there, beat it up, and get into soup. Problem that I've got, a deep fried biscuit, ain't that a donut? Well, me and the girl at work, this is what her dad used to do. He used to take the biscuits in a roll, and pop open the roll. I guess take the biscuits, maybe separate them, and fry them in a skillet with oil. Fry them, flip them, fry them in a skillet, and then get them out and sprinkle powdered sugar on them. And he would give them to his kids as treats, like donuts. You're right. But I would like to take the drop biscuit recipe, right, and just scoop up some, and instead of drop it into the pan and baking it, or oven or whatever, baking it, I would just like to take it and put it in the oil. let it fry up that way. It's a taste. I wouldn't mind taking, some of those two ingredient biscuits that I made, throw some cheese in there, pat them out, drop them down in there, fry them up, see what it's like. Oh well. I went to Ridgewood Barbecue, got barbecue for Mother's Day. And they give you the meat dry, and it's wonderful. And I'm thinking, what would this taste like if you took the smoked barbecued meat and deep fried it? A few minutes, got it out, patted it dry. Would it still taste like meat is crunchy? I think that would be good to know. I think that would be tasty. I don't think it would ruin it. It would make it different. So, may not be as good. But I was thinking, those kind of things would be really cool to try. Something that's already cooked. What happens if you just, what happens if you deep fried cold pizza? Now, you couldn't deep fry, I don't think, pizza, because the minute you drop it down in there, unless you put it in a batter. And I think a lot of that is batter's the trick. It encompasses it. As long as it doesn't run off before you drop it down in there. One of you could come up with the batter, put a slice of pizza in there, drop it down in a basket, deep fry it for however many minutes, pull it up, drain it out, and eat it. Maybe. So, that's what I'm going to try. So, stay tuned. If it's going to be live, I'll let you know. For sure. If it's something I can just do like Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon or something like that, and I do it in my basement, and it turns out like a biscuit video or something, then you should be subscribed to the channel with the notification bell turned on. I've got all my what am I thinking of? All my social media on here. Anywhere you got going, that's pretty much where I'm at. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit. What else? Twitter and Snapchat. I'm going to throw away Snapchat. It's a pain in my tuchus. Little surprise. Thursday, probably another recap of Survivor if everybody's up for that. I'm going to get up with Landon, see if maybe next Monday, maybe we'll do a special show on magnet fishing. I don't know. We're just going to have to find out. Stay tuned. Watch for all the notifications. Follow me on Instagram. It's all Minutes with Milo. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Minutes with Milo. And, tune in. So, see, we're talking about egg drop soup. Simmering and slowly adding the egg, right? While consistently stirring the broth. Slowly, he says. So, you get the broth. It's the soup. Do you take the egg, crack it, whisk it first, and then pour it into the broth as you stir it in? I don't know. Never made it. So no magnet fishing tonight. Sorry. He couldn't make it. Landon couldn't make it. So I like egg drop soup. Drizzle it in. You're getting that fancy talk now. Drizzling that stuff. Drizzling it in there like a pinch of salt, a puff of pepper. Bubbles. So that's going to be it for tonight. And I appreciate everybody coming by. I appreciate anybody that watches it. Give me a comment. Give me an idea of something you'd like to see boiled in oil, deep fried. Call it what you want. I'll put it in this deep fryer thing and see what it comes out like. And I'll have to say, I'll probably try to eat whatever comes out. Unless it's, I don't know. And I can't think of something. Maybe I'll get into where I get so bored that I'll put like little plastic army men in there and see what happens. Right? Just drop them down in there. Dunk them in there a few times just to see. But then what would be coming in my mind would be Toy Story. All those little green army men. Ah, I'm dying, I'm melting. That'd be sad. That'd be terrible. Toy Story's ruined all the things I used to do, toys, and crashing them and burning them and setting them ablaze and blowing them up and shooting them and all that kind of stuff. I feel so bad. I'm a toy murderer from way back. All right. This ends this here broadcast. Night out, everybody. See y'all later. Bye.